after a show ends if you're not immediately following the cast on social media and adding the soundtrack or the theme song to your playlist. What are you really doing? Hi honeys! Today we have a lot to discuss. We have our series finale of 19 to 20. 19 to 20 has been a show I've been watching for, I think it's just been running for the past month, correct me if I'm wrong. While there have been 13 episodes total, they've been releasing like 3 or 4 episodes each time. So, the series has kind of gone by super fast and I'm so sad about that. It's the cutest show ever. I loved it so much. Honestly, the cast was adorable. Everything about this show was adorable. The concept was adorable. So I'm hoping honestly that we can see a season 2 of this show coming soon. I don't know if we can stream it to the max so that we can get a season 2, but let's try our best, guys. This show is so cute and I honestly would be dying. I would be over the moon excited to see a season 2 with obviously a new cast, of course, but the same concept. I really enjoyed this series, but we're gonna talk about the final 3 episodes today, guys. It was such a whirlwind of emotions, these final episodes. So we're just gonna start by talking about each of the final episodes, what happened in each, and then of course at the end we're gonna talk about the final matches. If you're new here, by the way, my name is Bree with an E, and I talk a lot about yours and my favorite TV shows. Recently I've been talking about a lot of dating shows, which isn't intentional, it just has happened to be that way. But also I do want to say, now that I'm starting to build more of a returning audience, I do want to encourage you guys, anytime in the comments, let me know if there's any TV shows you guys would like me to start watching and reviewing. That being said, let's get into the reason you clicked onto this video, right? Let's get into it. Okay, so last we left off with 19 and 20, the house was in turmoil. The house got shaken up by the announcement of these 2 dream dates, right? There just was a lot of emotions running high. And we particularly left off on a bad note with our favorites, my favorites, Yadin and Jimin. He kind of gave her an ultimatum there at the end of the episode, and I expressed I didn't like that. I did not support that. But in the very beginning of episode 11, guys, of course, they made up just like I anticipated, just like I imagined they would. Also from that same episode, another couple that was on the rocks was Junghyun and Jiwoo. Now this couple, there was honestly just miscommunication on both their parts, I think. He was just completely tone deaf to the matter. Jiwoo started walking off crying. We know the story. So that very next morning, after they've, I guess, made up or things are now settled down now, the next morning, Junghyun is feeling inspired again to ask Jiwoo out, right? But Seyeon beats her to the punch. So he goes and pulls her out to the front patio. They talk. He ends up asking her out on another date. She, of course, says yes because at this moment she expressed that her feelings for them were kind of 50-50 and she really needed this date basically to confirm her feelings for one over the other to see which way her heartstrings were truly pulling. So from the looks of this, from the beginning of this episode, it feels like maybe Jiwoo's feelings could be reaching a turning point. But ultimately when she goes on her date with Seyeon, it's clear she just cannot stop thinking about Junghyun. It's clear that her feelings are way, way stronger for him. Seyeon picks up on this throughout their entire date, especially from last night's moments where she was crying over Junghyun. He kind of really, in that moment, realized how deep her feelings were for Junghyun. But also in this episode, Heejee and Pyeong-seok, our parents of the house, our most stable couple in the house, went out on a date. They went to go see some beautiful scenery in the mountains. They took some pictures. Throughout the date, Heejee was feeling a little bit tired, I guess. I didn't really pick up on it, but she was feeling tired from the night before. There was this one thing that happened right before they were gonna go grab dinner. Pyeong-seok and Heejee are on the ground and Heejee lifts up too fast while Pyeong-seok has something and he hits her in the eye or something happens. And Heejee ultimately has to go to the hospital. And the thing is, the producers were really playing this up like this was such a dramatic moment for the two. Obviously, I'm glad Heejee was okay. And I'm not saying that her going to the hospital was not a serious situation. Very much was a serious situation. But the fact that the producers, caught this moment and really played it up to seem like this was the thing that was gonna finally cause drama between the two, when in reality it was just Heejee was really tired, she got hit in the eye, and she needed to go to the hospital, and that was it. And they kind of were making it seem like she was mad at him and she was giving him the silent treatment, but she was just tired, girl. So, nice trying to make and create drama for our most stable couple in the house, there's nothing that can tear them apart. But our next most stable couple, in my opinion, guys, this may not be your opinion, and that is okay, okay? Our next stable couple, in my opinion, in the house is Yading and Jimin, and they also went on a casual date this episode. I don't know where they went, but they went to go play pool, and it was just a really fun date. I think they have my most favorite like connection in the house, just because of their dynamics. It's very playful, it's very fun. It's not like super serious. Although they can have their moments of seriousness, that's ultimately the type of relationship I want to have, where it's like I'm hanging out with my best friend every day, but also, you know, we're able to have those moments of seriousness and take on those more deep conversations, and, you know, still have a little romantic dinner at the end of the night, you know, no matter what. So I really enjoy this couple. They are my second favorite couple in the house, just because Heejee and Byung-seok, I mean, there's no beating them. There's no beating them, okay? That's like the basis of what happened in episode 11. So in episode 12, right at the very beginning, Junghyun finds time to finally talk to Jiwoo after she's just gotten back with her date, on her date with Seyeon. He approaches her, and I think he lays out his feelings a little bit more. You know, he starts being a little bit more vulnerable with her and sharing his emotions and feelings with her, which has been a huge struggle for him this entire time. But so after their conversation, he basically ends it with him telling her, you know, he's gonna use his dream date on her. So this leads us to the dream dates announcements of the night. I believe the dream dates are a trip to Jeju, an overnight trip to Jeju, which Yading and Jimin end up going on. We'll talk about that in a sec. And then we have the glamping. I'm thinking they meant to say camping, but maybe it's called glamping in Korea. I'm not too sure about that. But they have a glamping trip, so it's basically camping. So I'm gonna say camping. And Jiwoo and Junghyun end up going on that one. So Junghyun and Jiwoo's date was really reaffirming for Jiwoo. You know, in her date with Seyeon previously, she was having those feelings and reservations of, you know, my feelings are kind of leaning towards Junghyun. You know, why am I on this date with this amazing guy, this very caring and sweet guy who is, you know, open and vulnerable with me at all times, is sharing how he feels with me, and has only gone in pursuit after me this entire time in the house. You know, why then am I feeling these feelings of missing another guy while I'm out on a date with this guy? So following their date, after she was having those reservations, her date with Junghyun was then just very reaffirming of her feelings, that it's always been Junghyun for her, and she was just now realizing that date confirmed it for her. Moving on to the next dream date of this episode, we of course had my favorites, Yading and Jimin, one of my favorites, and they went on an overnight trip to Jeju. Now their date was entirely cute. I did catch some moments where the producers were trying to create drama between them two, like when Yading, I think this was on their casual date, but when Yading accidentally called him Byung-seok because they were just talking about Heejee and Byung-seok, and it was just a big deal. And then also when she lost her bracelet, you know, they were trying to create drama where there wasn't any, but they are such a cute couple. They had so many cute moments on this overnight trip to Jeju. It was such a cute place for them to go on a date to, especially holding hands on the beach. They were super cute the entire time, and they got those matching bracelets. But while everyone's out having a good old fun time, you know, the dream dates are going really smoothly between Junghyun and Jiwoo and Yading and Jimin. You know, Seyeon is really going through it. Seyeon, he has finally reached, you know, his breaking point, because he's been so into Jiwoo this entire time, and he's kind of reflecting on their date, I think, the night before at this point. And he's really just coming to terms with the fact that Jiwoo is definitely way more interested in Junghyun at this moment. So he's having a breakdown, and I honestly felt bad for him. It just sucks to feel rejected. At the end of the night, after Jiwoo comes back from her date with Junghyun, she's on a complete high. You know, she's in love with this guy, okay? She comes back, and she can kind of feel Seyeon is yearning to talk to her. And so he asks her while they're in the kitchen, you know, oh, do you want to go on a date tomorrow with me now? Because while they were coming back from their date the night before, he said, you know, I do want you to go on this dream date with Junghyun. But then, you know, you can go on a date with me since it'll be our last day in the house. But Jiwoo tells them, you know, I don't really think that's a good idea. I've now gone on a date with both of you. I just kind of want to take this last day to chill out and process my feelings. Though ultimately we all knew it wasn't so much of her having to process her feelings. It was more so her kind of, having that validation and confirmation that, Jung-yeon is the one she ultimately wants to go after. So it was really sad this episode, seeing him break down and ultimately seeing their conversation at the end too, where she finally kind of laid it out to him because she was feeling super bad. She laid it out to him that Jung-yeon was the way her heart's desire was going. So that was the end of episode 12. Get to episode 13. It's the moment we've all been waiting for, right? Our final couples are made. So in this episode, they are basically all informed by midnight that they need to confess their feelings to whoever they like most in the house, and thus that begins the beginning of their relationship. So our first couple made, of course, had to be Yadin and Jimin, because they're on such a high, right? I think I enjoyed Jimin's confession the most to Yadin. The other couples, they had appropriate confessions considering where they were at in their relationships, but I just think they had the cutest confession moment. So they were on the beach and they were watching the sunrise. Well, trying to watch the sunrise, and that is when Jimin took his moment to start laying out his feelings for Yadin, and he finally asked her out and asked him to be his girlfriend. It was so cute. When they got back to the house, everyone was cheering them on and they were like super blushy about it. And it's obviously they are just both super giddy over one another, and I love that. Our next we were shown was Heejee and Pyeongseok. Heejee and Pyeongseok, our most stable couple. Of course, they were going to be in game. Heejee, actually, which is super fitting for their relationship dynamic throughout this entire series. It seems Heejee has always been, super decided right away that she was going to pursue Pyeongseok. Pyeongseok, he was the same, but he wasn't as outgoing enough to express that. And Heejee has always kind of made Pyeongseok nervous, right? So it was super fitting for Heejee to ask Pyeongseok out. Pyeongseok was feeling incredibly nervous, even though they've had such a strong bond this entire time, and it was completely clear that Heejee would say yes to him, asking her out. He was still feeling nervous, so Heejee picked up on that and just, did it herself. And she gave him a little kiss on the cheek. They are super adorable as well. All these couples are adorable. Lastly, our last couple that was made, of course, was Jungyeon and Jiwoo. Now, they had a really laid-back confession. So Jungyeon, after that dinner date with Sohyun, he comes back and finds Jiwoo waiting for him, which was super cute. She was waiting for him on the couch, falling asleep in the process, waiting for him to return so that she could find a way to express her feelings to him one final time, and so that they could, begin their journey outside of the house together. So Jungyeon finally returns. He finds her waiting on the couch. They have a moment of discussion. It starts snowing, and I think there's a thing about the first snow in Korea with couples that it's a sign of good luck. It's supposedly an emblem of good luck or a long-lasting relationship. I don't know if that's completely true. It's just what I've observed in Korean media and entertainment thus far. It starts snowing. They start laying out their feelings for one another. And Jungyeon is like, I want to keep seeing you after this, which is his version of asking him out, of asking Jiwoo out and asking her to be his girlfriend. She obviously says yes, of course. Honestly, it's been a journey for them, but I think we all knew at the end of the day that, sometimes people's heads can pivot. But I think we all knew at the end of the day that Jiwoo's feelings for Jungyeon were going to win out 100 times over compared to her feelings for Sejong. Now, I did forget to mention that while reacting to the 19 to 20 reunion clip I have here, it seems Yadin and Jimin aren't together anymore, just based off of how they were reacting to, their first moments coupling up together back in their time when they were in the beach. So, and just based off how the cast reacted to it, just seems they aren't together because they look so uncomfortable. But in other news, it seems that the other two final couples are still dating. Jungyeon and Jiwoo are still dating. They looked so cute, by the way. He says he loves her every day. Also, Pyeongseok and Heejee are still together. So just wanted to give that quick update real quick. Yeah, guys, that completes our discussion over 19 to 20, the series as a whole. Like I said, I've really enjoyed this series. I'm hoping, praying that this season, that the show gets renewed for another season. I would be so down to see a fresh new cast take on this concept of 19 to 20. I think it is such a good concept of a show, and it was such a fun show. So I'd be happy to see them continue the series in the long haul. But yeah, guys, who has been your favorite couple to watch this series? For me, it's definitely been Heejee and Pyeongseok, and Yerin and Jimin. Those are my top 2 favorites. Of the final couples, though, who was your favorite final couple? For me, if it came down between Heejee and Pyeongseok and Yerin and Jimin, I would have to say it was Heejee and Pyeongseok, just because they've been the most stable. I've been rooting for them since day one. Yerin and Jimin kind of came along later in the show, so for me it's been Heejee and Pyeongseok. If you've enjoyed this series and me talking about it, give this video a big thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button, because though this series has ended, I still am going to be talking about a lot of your and my favorite TV shows. Like I said, if you've got a TV show that you want me to review at the current moment, let me know. I'll start doing that in a hot, speedy fashion for you. Meanwhile, you can check out my other content I'm filming right now. I'm filming reviews for Heart Signal Season 4, the Korean version, and I'm also talking about The Summer I Turned Pretty, an American TV show right now. So there's plenty you can still see from me. But with that being said, guys, I thank you so much for watching to the very end, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.